Hi, Joyce Erb, guest designer for Cut at Home, where we will do crafting tips for people with hand challenges and lots of techniques and products for everyone else. We'll be doing a wedding card today, white on white, using vellum, dry embossing, and heat embossing, as well as glitter paper. The card base is Nina Solar White 110 pound, and it is 5.5 by 8, scored at 4. The reason I did 4 is because I ran out of glitter paper, silver, and I had these two pieces cut that were 4 inches. And it's by DCWF. It's gorgeous paper. But in my glitter stack, the silver goes the quickest. Now it's cut 4 by 5.5, and it will cover the whole front of the card. And I'm going to cut the center out instead of wasting that gorgeous paper. And I'm using the A2 Matting Basics B by Spellbinders. And it leaves more than enough to give me a 1/8 inch border. And the sentiment's being cut out from Sizzix Celebrations dies by Tim Holtz. And I've got 3 pieces cut for the center for the embossing. They're 1.5 inches by 5.5 inches. And after I emboss them, they'll be cut down to 1.25 inches. Then I've got 2 half-inch strips, 5.5 inches long, to go around it, and we're using a piece of vellum to stamp our images. The images we're using is Heartfelt Creations Sunkissed Floral Stamps and the coordinating dies. I'll be using the Vagabond to do my die cutting, so I brought over the plates because I want to show you the sandwich. So for the Vagabond, to cut intricate dies, and this word celebrate is an intricate die, we're going to be using it on glitter paper, which is a little more challenging to cut, but it really goes well. We're going to be using the Precision Base Plate for intricate dies. And if you see the print on the back side, that's the wrong side. You need to have it silver or black side facing you. And you'll use your base plate with the solo shim, along with the solo thin die adapter. And then you will place the precision plate on top of that, silver side up. I believe the newer versions are black. It's a really heavy and strong metal, and the die will actually cut into it. Again, I'm just showing you that if you see the words, you've got it wrong. Then you put your paper down. And you don't want to cut it with the word in that direction. If you turn it vertically, it will help the warping be less on your cutting plate. So I position it, and then I use the colored one only for this purpose. Now we're going to look at the sandwich needed to do the embossing folder. This is a Spellbinders M-Bossibilities, and this one happens to be, I believe, Secret Garden or Garden Delight. And it's got 2 different designs. One has got butterflies, emboss and deboss, and the other side, when you flip it over, has flowers. And we're going to be using the butterflies. And you just open it up, and we're going to put in our little strip of paper that we're going to emboss, and you close it. Now we're using the base plate, the shim, the solo shim, and then the silicone rubber mat directly on top of the shim. Notice there's no plate. Then the folder with the paper in it, and then the rigid texturized plate. It's a texturized impression plate, and then just run that through the Vagabond. This is our second option of a form of embossing. Actually, it's bake in it. I have 2 swirls that I made die cuts out of. And all I'm going to do using the dry clear art glitter glue, I'm going to dab dots of glue all over the swirl and adhere it onto the strip. And it has a raised effect, which you'll see here in a moment. Just position it where it gets the design how you want it. Press it on. I do go back and make sure all the little swirls are adhered well. Put the second one on. Once it's dry, I flip it over and I fussy cut the bits that overhang. And here's what it looks like. Doesn't that look great? I lost some video for the embossing paste, but the third option is I put the stencil over the paper and spread it across, take it off, take the stencil off, and then clean up the edges. I'm stamping the flowers with Heartfelt Creations Sun-Kissed Floor and its coordinating die to cut it out. And I'm using a butterfly stamp from my stash. And I'm going to stamp it on 40-pound weight vellum. And I put it into the corner of my positioner. And I'm using an anti-static pad to remove any static or grease or finger marks that might be on the vellum so that the embossing powder won't stick to it. And trying to get off that little piece of lint. And then I position the stamp where I want it on the vellum. I put the butterfly on, but I do take it off and stamp it separately. It wasn't cooperating. Then I ink it up really good with Versamark embossing ink. Sticky clear watermark ink. Close the lid and give it a good amount of pressure to transfer. And because I want to make sure I get really good coverage, I covered it with a superfine white embossing ink and embossed it. And these dies are the older ones, where you have to position what you're going to cut through what you can see through the template. And to make the template, I simply cut the die, and then I tape it to hold it in place while I position it. And the nice thing about vellum is I can actually double check my alignment by flipping it over because I can see through it, which is pretty handy. Trying to make sure I get it taped down real good so it stays in position here. Then I can flip it over and check it. And it's looking pretty good. I take it to my Vagabond now and cut it all out. Now we're going to look at our 3 different embossing options. Here's our 3 strips that we made. The dry emboss on the top, and the center is the pieces we glued on, and then the embossing paste. And I've just got the pieces loose here, nothing glued on yet, just trying to see what I like best. That one looks nice. This is iridescent paste or pearlescent paste from Dreamweaver, but I don't really care for the color. It looks pretty good. I like to do a dry run or a layout just to get an idea of what I might want to use. And I'm positioning the largest of the flowers. Don't know how many layers I want yet, so I'm just trying it out to get an idea. don't want a lot of dimension on these particular flowers, but I don't think I want them flat either. I was going to go with one flower, but I decided that I like two. We're going to put my butterfly in first. You can really change up the look on this particular card by using different colored backing paper or glitter paper. And you can color on the back of vellum with alcohol markers, and you can get a really beautiful, subtle look. So I like that, just seeing where I want the celebrate word. So I glued the word on celebrate in the corner. And I took the little strips that we made and glued them on the back, exposing about 1/8 of an inch top and bottom. And then that'll just glue on in the center. Now I took the largest flower. Now these are not wet. And all I'm doing, the only shaping I'm giving them, is to push down in the center of each flower. Then I will do that for each of the 3 layers of each flower and then glue them in the center. If you spray vellum, they will crinkle up pretty bad, which is all right for a crinkly, shabby chic flower, but that's not the type of flower that I wanted. Plus, I didn't want a lot of dimension. So it's good. And for the leaves, now I did give the leaf a little bit more dimension. I did press a little bit on the back side of each leaf. And then in the center on the front. Now I'll glue it all together and we'll take a look at the finished card. Well, here's the finished card with everything glued down. I added some rhinestones to the flowers, the butterfly, and around the sentiment. Remember, you can buy the Heartfelt Creations, the Spellbinders, and the Sizzix products used in today's project from the Cut at Home online store. I thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. Have a great day.